The title today is Women Are Smarter Than Men, according to Harvard. 30 plus years research and peer review say all of those things. However, Harvard and them will never label it that way. They will never label it that way. They will never say those exact words, but I'll say them. This is my opinion. This is what I'm saying in air quotes. Women are smarter than men, according to Harvard studies over 30 years plus. I'll talk about the Harvard studies here and dissect them a little bit further. But I will start also with saying that even though Harvard has this information, it won't frame it as women are smarter than men. They will frame it in other ways with other words, different wording, because, like I said yesterday, they start with the language to get to the physical. Okay, so they start molding the language, they soften the language to what they believe they want people to hear, that they want people to hear, even though they don't care what people hear, but well, they care what they hear, but they say it in a way that they want the narrative to go. Okay, it starts with words, then it goes into the physical part of the body, and also like work and labor and things like that. So, for example, instead of Harvard saying women are smarter than men, because that's what the data shows, they will say things like, they're both different. The brains work different in each gender, or something along those lines. But they will never say women are smarter than men. They will say what they want people to believe with words and language. So they'll say things like, even though the data shows this, with further findings, this is the more accurate way of seeing things. Like, what? Anyway, they're always playing with the wordplay, and that's what they do. So, let me get started with how women are smarter than men, but they'll never say it that way. What if the truth has already been studied, documented, peer reviewed, but never said out loud in a way that would change things? Because when you actually look at decades of research, yes, including work discussed through institutions like Harvard, you start to see a pattern. And yes, we talk about patterns here a lot. Not a headline, a pattern. Look at it, watch it, dissect it, study it. It happens within years, decades, centuries. It's not like a one time thing. Studies on collective intelligence found something surprising. Groups don't perform better because of the highest IQ in the room. They perform better based on social sensitivity, communication, and collaboration. And the groups that consistently scored higher, the ones with more women in them. Not because of niceness, because of better turn taking, actually being able to take turns, also better emotional reading, and also adaptive thinking. That is intelligence. And women scored better overall, collectively, better than men did collectively. See how they use those precious words? Just not the kind that gets glorified. That was supposed to go with that's intelligence, just not the kind that gets glorified. So let me go back and repeat what I basically just said. The research, they don't simplify. Studies on collective intelligence found something surprising. Groups don't perform better because of the highest IQ in the room. They perform better based on social sensitivity, communication, and collaboration. And the groups that consistently scored higher, the ones with women, more women in them, not because of niceness, because of better turn taking, emotional reading, and adaptive thinking. That's intelligence, just not the kind that gets glorified. Why don't they glorify this? Why don't Harvard people type glorify this or make it a big deal or congratulate it? Or, why are they throwing women into the kitchens and why are they throwing women? I don't know what I just said, but what I meant to say is why are they throwing women in the kitchen and, barefoot pregnant and all this stuff? Why are they sticking and keeping women in the homes instead of celebrating the intelligence of women? Honestly, if men would just use women's intelligence for equality, everything would be great. But instead, men have chosen to oppress women's intelligence by throwing them in the kitchen and keeping them pregnant. Leadership data that speaks quietly. Large scale leadership assessments. Thousands of evaluations showed that women scored higher in most leadership categories, not one or two, the majority, including, and if you don't believe me, look it up yourself. Look up the Harvard research, the Harvard studies of the last 30 years that has to do with everything I'm talking about right now. Excuse me. With everything that I'm talking about right now. So let me repeat. Leadership data that speaks quietly. Large scale leadership assessments, thousands of evaluations showed that women scored higher in most leadership categories, not one or two, the majority, including initiative, resilience, driving results, self development, integrity based leadership. That's not opinion, that's pattern recognition across data. And yet, who still gets framed as the default leader? Default leader who gets to lead just because it was decreed long ago. Why do men get to lead? Why are men so afraid of women showing their true leadership skills, intelligence, potential? Brain science without the headlines. Neuroscience research has found differences in brain connectivity. Not better versus worse, but different strengths. This is the framing I was talking about at the beginning. Women on average show stronger cross hemisphere connectivity, higher verbal fluency, faster integration of emotional plus logical processing, which translates to something very specific: multi-dimensional thinking, the ability to process complexity, people, and outcomes at the same time. That one thing that people always talking about, multitasking. It's, yes, it is multitasking because women are more able to multi-dimensional think and act at the same time. Women are better at multidimensional thinking, multitasking capabilities, and that is the ability to process complexity, people, and outcomes at the same time. Meanwhile, men are super hyper focused, and what do they focus on? Work, 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 money, 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 junk, 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 sex, sex, sex. What else is new? Then they'll throw in a little sports, a little weather, a little news, a little politics, and call it a day. Meanwhile, women are taking care of the home, the work, the cleaning, the cooking, and making sure that not everybody, um, well, I'm sorry, making sure that everybody survives the day. That's what I meant to say. Making sure that everybody survives the day. Imagine, imagine a house full of, I don't know, 10, 20 kids. How can one person spread themselves to 20 different people effectively? Can they do it? Sure, they've done it. Is it a good idea? Hell the hell no. Hell the hell no. That's not a good idea. I mean, for goodness sakes, we can barely take care of our oneselves. How the heck am I supposed to split myself in 20 different for 20 different people's needs? That's crazy. And that's not just for 20 kids, that's for 5 kids, for 3 kids. I mean, that's a lot. That's still a lot. One person is enough. Then you add this one, this one, and this one, and this one. Of course, the woman is at home, distracted, busy, cleaning and making sure that everybody survives the day. All right, I'm going to move on. So if the data keeps pointing in one direction, why isn't the conclusion ever said plainly? The framing problem, because language shapes power. Instead of saying women outperform in key intelligence and leadership metrics, the narrative becomes instead women are naturally nurturing, women are great caregivers, women are emotionally intelligent. Instead of the true bottom line, women outperform in key intelligence and leadership metrics through the roof across 30 plus years of Harvard research and peer studies. Women outperform in key intelligence and leadership metrics. That means women are smarter than men, but men don't like that. So they'll say things like, instead, women are naturally nurturing. They belong in the kitchen at home with the kids. Women are great caregivers. That's what they're here to do. Women are emotionally intelligent. So they belong with the emotional kids at home. Those narratives that they spit at people. And have been spitting at people for centuries and centuries and centuries and centuries. So it sounds positive, but watch what it does. It shrinks high-level capability into supportive roles, shrinking the woman down to a supportive role for the man to be seen as the hero or as the king. No. No. You're not a hero, man. You're not a king. You are a parasite to humanity, to society, to women, and to children. You are a freaking disgusting pervert, is what you are. Victimizer, abuser, oppressor. So it redirects leadership into caregiving, strategy into support, power into responsibility without authority. The men have taken away the leadership, strategy, power from women and turned women into the caregivers, supporters, and responsible ones without authority. Now, this is not okay. This is not okay. Distraction versus potential. If someone is constantly told their highest value is being a partner, being a mother, being a wife, being a girlfriend, being the emotional backbone, then their thinking brain cognitive potential gets rerouted into maintenance, not expansion. So if you're told you're supposed to be a mother, you're supposed to be a wife, you're supposed to clean and cook and stay at home, that's what you get rerouted to, into maintenance, support. And your brain and your potential never expands. Not because they cannot lead the systems, but because they have been assigned to sustain the systems instead. Listen carefully and re-listen, re-watch, hear it again, replay, do whatever the F you have to do. Share with somebody who needs to hear it, because let me tell you something. If you don't do anything about this today, we're going to turn into the exact things that are happening in the other parts of the world where women are being raped legally as young as puberty because the men said it's okay. And that is not okay. And you need to start doing something about it today. Because there aren't enough people. There are not enough women doing what is supposed to be done. There are women, but not enough. You need to rise up. You need to wake up. You need to step out of the chains now. Modern policy conversations. Now, bring that into modern discussions like policy frameworks being debated today, including things tied to long-term conservative planning agendas, often referred to the media as, listen carefully, Project 2025. Look it up if you haven't already. What did Trump do? Think about it. Regardless of where someone stands politically, one thing is clear. There are active conversations about reducing institutional protections, reshaping workforce expectations, redefining gender roles in society. And those shifts matter because when systems change, they either expand autonomy or reinforce traditional roles. We are at a crux. We are at a cross. This is our cross, and you have got to learn how to bear it correctly, because if you don't, in 5, 10, 20 years, it's gonna get worse for women. All women, all females of all ages. Every single one of the females in your family are in danger. And if you don't believe me, I wish you good luck. This isn't about saying one group is better in a simplistic way. That's too easy and honestly not useful. This is about recognizing there are forms of intelligence that have historically been undervalued, even when the data shows their impact. And when those forms of intelligence are consistently redirected away from power, that's not random, that is structured strategy. So the real question is not who is smarter. The real question is who decides what intelligence looks like and who benefits from that definition. Because once that definition changes, everything changes. Please, you have got to educate yourself on these things. I don't care if you don't like politics. I don't care if you don't like feminism. I don't care if you don't like the word or the title or the sayings. I don't care if you don't like I don't care what you don't like. If you're a woman and you don't know what matriarchy is, look it up. If you don't know what protection from political power is, look it up. If you don't know what to do, you have got to go into your school boards. As women, you have got to go into those school boards, into those town council meetings, into those places where they make decisions about your county, about your city, about your state. You have got to get in there, even if it's boring, even if it's too much time away from you or your, whatever, even if it's this, that, the other, because you have got to sacrifice everything in order to promote the well-being of the future of females coming up. Because if you don't do anything, we're just going to be in a worse situation in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Now, whatever. I mean, shoot. I have my backup plan, and which I'm not going to share with anybody because ain't none of y'all business. But I'm going to tell you something. If you don't start doing nothing and you're stuck where you are, you're going to be stuck in a worse situation because he will start cheating on you. He will start drinking, doing drugs, gambling the money away, whatever. Men want sex and different women. Men don't like the same women woman over and over and over. And if he's not having sex with you, he is having sex with your children, his own children. They are perverts. Watch out.